Here's more wrestling news for October 15th, 2022. And we're starting off this afternoon with Dakota Kai, who returned to WWE at SummerSlam after being released in May of this year from NXT. Before the regime change, Vince McMahon reportedly did not see Kai as a main roster talent, but it was mere days into Triple H's time as head of talent that she was back as a Raw superstar. Speaking on the latest Out of Character, the New Zealand-born wrestler explained how she was shocked that WWE wanted her back so quickly, and that it was in fact Bayley who started things off. Bayley texted me on Thursday before SummerSlam and was just out of the blue. I mean, we text a lot, but this question was out of the blue, and she's like, "Hey, out of curiosity, are you talking to anyone right now in terms of companies or anything like that?" And I said, "Well, kind of, but why do you ask?" By the end of that day, Kai had been rehired by WWE and would make her on-screen return that Saturday at SummerSlam. As a member of Damage Control, Kai has arguably been on the most successful run of her WWE career, and the future looks bright for the reigning WWE Women's Tag Team Champion. In June, Cody Rhodes suffered a torn pectoral muscle but fought through the pain to compete inside Hell in a Cell, defeating Seth Rollins. Since then, Cody has made it clear he wants to be back in the ring as soon as possible, much to the chagrin of his doctors, but the American Nightmare's recovery time is certainly impressive. After the injury, it was reported that Rhodes would need 9 months off, which would put his return around March 2023, but the Wrestling Observer newsletter reports that he's way ahead of schedule. Rhodes is healing so fast, thanks to teaming with fitness guru Diamond Dallas Page, that he could be back by January's Royal Rumble, or even as early as WWE Day 1 in Atlanta. Rhodes' return to WWE earlier this year was huge for the company, but that momentum was derailed with his injury. But if the former AEW TNT champion keeps working hard, it may not be much longer before he's back on TV. Last week, AEW announced that Jon Moxley has signed a new 5-year deal, which will see him compete as a wrestler and take on a coaching role backstage. Re-signing Moxley is a huge win for Tony Khan, who has had to deal with the unreliable CM Punk as of late, but things nearly didn't happen this way. According to the Wrestling Observer newsletter, Moxley didn't intend on signing multiple deals with AEW when he first joined in 2019, and his plan was to work for the company for just 3 years. After that 3-year period, Moxley would go off to do whatever he wanted, working the independent scenes while also being a freelancer with AEW. Obviously, that isn't how things have played out, as Moxley's new deal will see him appear exclusively for AEW in New Japan, though with indie appearances on a surprise basis. Moxley is with AEW for the long haul, and the company has been very good to their reigning world champion, but this was a contract Mox never planned on re-signing just a few years ago. Speaking of all elite talent, Saraya is now with AEW and has been medically cleared by the team with the company. When Saraya debuted at AEW Grand Slam, there was little information known about her health and medical status, but the former Divas champion cleared things up during an appearance on Talk is Jericho. "My neck is good, I feel really healthy and my neck feels fantastic. I just really want to take care of my body because as much as I want to rush into doing all these different types of matches, I know what happened last time." Speaking about her 2018 retirement, Saraya added that it's been much more than just her medical issues holding her back. "After a while too, it was all mental for me as well. Like, well, now I'm scared, what do I do? So getting over that hump, and I still have that mental block a little bit, but I feel like if I'm in the ring with the right person, then I'm going to be way more comfortable." Speaking about her in-ring style going forward, Saraya said it'll need to change, and gave the example of working a match with AJ Lee when the latter was also dealing with injuries. "It reminds me of when I did the match with AJ Lee at SummerSlam. She couldn't take a bump that much either. So we did the whole match without her taking a bump. So I'm like, I want to be that kind of worker. I'll take a bump, but I'm not going to be a bump monkey like I used to." There are still some people who are concerned that Saraya is rushing into things, but with the right opponent and assurances by AEW's medical team, the British wrestler is confident that she can get back in the ring, something WWE were seemingly never going to let her do. We've got some sad news to report now, as New Japan wrestler Katsuya Kitamura has died at the age of 36. Tokyo Sport were the first to report the news, saying that Kitamura had felt off on Tuesday and had called an ambulance for himself before passing on Friday. Once a prospect for Japan's Olympic wrestling team in 2012, Kitamura would first step foot in New Japan's dojo in 2015 and would win the Young Lion Cup in 2017. During his time with New Japan, Kitamura shared the ring with several stars, including Davey Boy Smith Jr., AEW's Lance Archer, and WWE superstar Ricochet. Thanks to his 6-foot and 265-pound frame, Kitamura was deemed the wrestling monster in his native Japan for towering over many of his opponents. No cause of death has been made public at this time, and we'd like to offer our condolences to Kitamura's family and those who knew him best. As we all know, WWE has brought back a ton of superstars over the past few months, but it's not just on-screen talent who have been rehired. Road Dogg Jesse James has been brought back as WWE's Senior VP of Live Events, but Triple H also brought back Gabe Sapolsky. The co-founder of ROH and founder of Evolve, Sapolsky worked as part of NXT before being released in January this year, and more information has come out over his current role. The Wrestling Observer newsletter reports that Sapolsky is now in charge of extras on TV for Raw and SmackDown, so anyone who may not be the featured superstar in a segment. Sapolsky's departure from WWE was part of several releases in January, with all people cut having worked closely with Triple H or friends with him, but now he's back thanks to the King of Kings. At Extreme Rules, Ronda Rousey regained the SmackDown Women's Championship, making Liv Morgan pass out to win the title. Now Rousey is once again on top of the SmackDown Women's roster, but isn't too impressed about the division. Speaking about the women's division during a recent vlog, Rousey said how the division is severely lacking storylines that aren't for a title. The former UFC fighter pointed out that at a WWE Premium Live event, you can expect to see men's matches not for titles, such as the recent Seth Rollins vs. Matt Riddle feud, but it's very rare to have a women's match not be for the gold. Rousey added that there is just not enough women on either rosters, and said that WWE has had the dilemma of whether to reduce the roster and give everyone more airtime, or to add to the roster and give it more depth, but would mean several wrestlers getting no TV time. Right now, WWE is without some of their top female superstars, including Rousey's old rival Becky Lynch, so we'll have to see which overlooked superstars, if any, get more of a look in the coming months. Over to SmackDown now as the Blue brand continued to tease the return of Sarah Logan. Much like last week's segment, the video did not feature Logan's face, but her voice was heard, and it is clear who WWE are promoting. In addition to Logan, the Viking Raiders were featured in the video, which comes after reports that the three will be on screen together moving forward. For those unaware, Logan is the wife of Viking Raiders member Eric and was even in a segment a few months ago for the Raiders during their feud with the New Day. It'll be interesting to see what role Sarah Logan plays for the Viking Raiders, as there has been an increasing trend of factions and groups with female members, including the Judgment Day, Hit Row, and Legado del Fantasma, and you could also make an argument for the maximum male models. There's still no word on when exactly Logan will make her return in a WWE ring, but 2 years after her release, fans will soon be getting to see the Riot Squad alum again. When Veer Mahaan was brought to Raw, Vince McMahon had plans for him to be his next big monster heel, which didn't work out. Instead, the months of vignettes promoting him became a joke with fans, and after a few months of actually being on Raw, Mahaan has since been sent back to NXT. Not long after his move to NXT, though, it was said that WWE planned to bring both him and Sanga to Raw, but those plans have changed. According to Fightful Select's latest report, there are no plans now for Veer to be on Raw, but he isn't the only big man being left out. The same report adds that there are no imminent plans for Commander Aziz either, despite him being seen at an NXT house show in July acting as the henchman for Cora Jade. While Veer became popular with fans online thanks to the memes about his doomed main roster run, WWE isn't on board with Veer like Vince McMahon was, so don't expect him on Monday Night Raw. One name people aren't seeing, at least on WWE TV, is Naomi, who hasn't been seen since the May 16th Raw walkout alongside Sasha Banks. In recent weeks, there have been teases of Banks' return, with the boss even getting name-dropped during Extreme Rules, but that has left fans speculating on Naomi's fate. As reported in the Wrestling Observer newsletter, little is clear about WWE's plans for the Glow, and the company is said to be well within the rights to freeze her contract. Naomi's deal with WWE was nearing its end when she and Banks walked out of Raw, and if WWE does freeze her deal, it'll mean she can't negotiate to join with any other promotion until her contract is finished. WWE has frozen contracts in the past, typically for superstars who have been out with injuries for a prolonged period of time, but that isn't the case this time around. Sasha Banks is said to be close to returning now that Triple H is running things, as the two have a good relationship due to their time working together in NXT. But even if she returns soon, it may be a long time yet before Naomi is back on TV. Well guys, that's our news for today. Please share your comments below. Also hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon to receive all notifications. And as always, thanks for watching.